Hey, this is Jenn G. I am super excited to have you be a part of this new show that follows my journey through entrepreneurship. Most importantly, I get to introduce you to the people I've met along the way as I build my business and help others build their business. Join me to be inspired, uplifted every time you watch the show.
I will get rid of all my jitters.
Hey, welcome to the Jenn G Show. Happy Thursday. We are here again with Mobipop Television. There's one thing I want to talk to you about. If you don't know anything about short code marketing, you should. Make sure that you can reach your clients where they're at and they are looking at their phones. I want to make sure we connect. So go to your text function and the number is 55312 and the message is POP. Press send and I will teach you the value of short code marketing. Engage your clients and text messages get opened 98% versus a much lower open for email. So let's connect and talk about how we can grow your business. Talking about growing businesses, tonight we have Samir with us. And
hi.
Samir is a mortgage expertise, I'm going to say.
Wow, that is very high praise. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I am getting rid of all my jitters as we speak.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I like how you looked at the camera and you could like go back to the mic and then look at the camera again. You know, I'm working on that.
That's
so
right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's talk mortgages.
Yes, ma'am.
There's so much to know about this, and if you don't go with the right person, you can find yourself in a pretty difficult situation at closing where potentially you don't have the right funding in place, or maybe you're paying too high a percentage. And you want to make sure you're with somebody who can walk you through the process.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And, you know, the whole mortgage world's actually gone pretty digital these days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've been fortunate enough to be doing this since the mid '90s, since '96.
Oh, wow.
So,
See, and can I just say, a
Yes,
lot
ma'am.
of people can't say that.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, you go through like the ebbs and flows of every industry. You know, stuff happens. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's been a very, very big blessing, and you know, we and I keep saying we because there's like a whole team where I'm at, and it's not just me that makes the magic happen. But we're very fortunate. You know, we've outlasted a lot of things, and we go through the ups and downs, and we just embrace the future as it comes along.
Okay.
Which is part of the reason why I'm here.
Which is excellent, because I think, especially in South Florida and Florida as a whole,
Yes, ma'am.
there are so many people that are moving to the state because A, it's beautiful and you want to live where people vacation. B, if you're from the north, potentially you might be a snowbird and you have a part-time house here, and then you have your main residence up north, and you're going to need somebody who's really qualified. And People's Home Equity is a qualified company that is around for a long time.
Yeah, we've been here for a while. I mean, we recently got purchased by Cardinal Financial, but we still do business under People's Home Equity Mortgage. We have a A rating with the Better Business Bureau. I personally, forget about I personally am extremely proud of.
Yeah.
You know, and longevity is the key. And you know, what we do is we try to provide our clients, because we deal with all sorts of people.
I can imagine.
All sorts of people, right?
Yeah.
You know, and we, you know, the $100,000 little condo loan or the $2 million house loan, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, so what we try to do is provide resources to families. You know, and I think what you know, personally I've learned throughout the industry is sometimes, you know, people treat mortgages as like a you know, it's not like a personal transaction, but it's kind of like a headache transaction. So what we try to do is provide you with enough resources so it's not a damn headache.
Which I think is great, because I will tell you, when we bought our house, all of our houses, any one of our houses, you know, you're at that table and it's so nerve-wracking. And when you sign a check for some crazy amount of money,
It's the most money people will ever borrow in their life, normally.
That's right. And you immediately sign it, you're excited, but then there's that kind of like buyer's remorse in a sense, that it's like, oh my gosh, we're now on the hook for
Right.
X amount of money. So
And-
it's definitely nerve-wracking.
Right. And part of what you do, you know, we meet people and other businesses that provide value for our clients. You know, we've learned to parlay those resources and add them as an added value to what we do to provide for our referral partners and the people that we do business with as well. So, you know, I mean, we have a networking group that we do live streaming for the networks. For
that's
networking.
great.
Absolutely. You know, you can email me. I think my email is displaying.
Plus, we'll say, because we're also on the radio, so I want people driving.
Samir, you don't know how to spell my name? It's real simple. Sam IR. That's simple. My last name is a little more complicated. It's Mayon, but in English it's Magnan. I'm originally from Haiti. It's French. And Samir at ineedmorehouse.com.
Can't be easier.
Can't be easier.
Right.
You know, and, you know, we're always looking for great loan officers. So by all means, shoot me an email with your resume if you're looking around. Be more than happy to provide that as a resource for you. And our networking group, if you want to be a part of that with other businesses, realtors, property inspectors, whatever it is, shoot me an email. I'll be more than happy to help you with that as well. But what I'm saying is what we try to do is just have an added value of resources so that our clients don't feel so encumbered.
Which I like this idea of taking the professionals and bringing them all together.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're bringing a really kind of like a concierge service
Yeah.
to say, if you're buying a house, I can help you with home inspection. I can help you with lenders. I can help you with all these things.
Absolutely. And it's people that we've done business with in the past.
Right.
It's not like, you know, I'm getting paid to say it or something. Like, it's not like a paid advertisement.
Right.
So, like, I'll give you a prime example. Like, if you're buying a house, you're from New York or wherever, you don't keep in contact with home inspectors. And if I say call these three, you're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, which one of these three do you trust? You know what I mean? I'm just like, here, call this one. He's going to do a great job. He does everything for us. You're an insurance person. Do you have one? No. Okay, great. Here. It just limits the amount of stress. It takes that little burden off of you. You know, I compare it to my wife picking out my clothes because I am colorblind. Okay, to me, this is all blue. Okay, to my wife, this is light blue, and some of these spots here, I don't know what color they are. And then, like, this is like dark blue. She has like different shades of blue, and thank God for my wife, because if it wasn't for my wife, I would not be able to get dressed right in the morning.
Well, she did a great job. I love what she did. She put it together and it looked perfect. So.
Right? She's like, Samir, you're going to shave your head. You're going to look good for this. This is what you're going to wear. I'm like, okay, sounds great, honey.
Sounds great. I'll do it.
Right, I'll do it, you know? And it's kind of the same thing. When people call us, it's like, okay, you know, I don't have a realtor. You're a buyer. Okay, no problem. You need to list your... I have clients that call me. Do you have somebody I can list my home with that I've closed in the past? Absolutely.
Right.
You know, here, you know, and it just helps them. It just relieves that burden. It's just something else it's one less thing to have to worry about.
So let's walk through some scenarios. My first scenario is you're a first-time home buyer. What are some things that you need to know on the lending side that'll make you more favorable to get that first-time mortgage?
Okay, so the first thing I would say is, you know, you contact your mortgage professional. Now, not all companies do this, but we do. We actually pre-qualify you. We get it underwritten before we give you a letter that says you're qualified. So what that means is the underwriter has already seen your assets, your income, and your credit.
Wow.
So we don't allow LOs, you know, I don't allow the LOs to just send you a letter. That's not how it works. So what happens is we send it out to an underwriting process, it gets underwritten, and then we give you a letter. When the letter comes, it means you also have a commitment to lend.
Which I think then, because I have a lot of friends that are realtors, and they've been in this situation where a mortgage company sends them a letter, maybe doesn't do as thorough of what you just said. So now they have a letter, the realtor's taking them from house to house to house. It's time to talk about mortgage. Turns out they're not approved.
Right. And you know, unless something changes in the time in between, that negates that for the most part. It's a very rare occurrence where something else happens. Right. So, and I've learned to do this after years of doing it the old way, you know, where I just run through the system, give you a letter, and I'm not an underwriter.
Right.
Right. And sometimes 1 percentage point can mean you're denied. I did a loan last month and it was from a major bank that got denied by 1 percentage point. I fixed that 1 percentage point and we closed. That's how, I closed a loan today that almost hit the max ratio by 0.33%.
See, but that's the difference between somebody who has been in the business since 1996.
Right.
And somebody who's like, I think I'm going to try to do mortgages.
Right. And we have a team of people. So, you know, I touch the file, you know, there's a processing team with 4 different processors that get assigned to our branch. We have processing assistants Then it goes to an underwriting assistant, an underwriter, but it's all automated. It's like an assembly line. And, we do loans in multiple states. We are able to do it in all 50 states, but we primarily focus on a few multiple states.
Right.
And it just helps the process go along. And when we do everything before you find a house, it cuts the wondering. I think the most stressful part of any mortgage transaction is wondering if you're approved. Let's be for real.
No, you sweat. Like, your eyebrows are sweating. Like, you find a house you love. If you do it backwards, you find a house you love, and
the whole time you're wondering, do I even qualify for this?
I may or may not be able to get this.
Right.
And it's almost like that stress is so unneeded.
Right. And then, things pop up. So what you want to do is you want to limit that wondering process. I had a client who's closing on Monday. Today I got it clear to close. And she told me, I didn't hear from you for a day because you told me you were going to get it clear to close by the end of the day. And I just called her right before I came on the show because it just got clear to close because we were waiting in line. And she's like, but I told my coworkers, Samir's got this. Because
you got it.
I got it. That's what I told her. I'm like, I got it. Don't worry about it. Just go chill somewhere. Right. And then, whatever came up, and it wasn't even me that had it. It was myself, my processor and processing assistant. We had a group of loans. Hers was on the docket. We got it done. We patched it together. It got cleared to close.
And that's the team approach. I'll tell you a story. When my husband and I first bought our first house, we thought we were closing on a Friday. We hadn't heard from the mortgage people. Hadn't heard. Friday at 3 p.m. they call and they say, okay, you're approved, but we need you to transfer all the money for your down payment into the bank by 5 o'clock. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So now we can do it. So now I have to rush over to the bank. And the funny thing about it was we were so stressed and we were home because it was the summer. And Mike, my husband, is like, I'm just going to go work out at the gym. So he leaves to work out. And that's when I get the call. And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
I drove to the bank like, oh.
There are like so many horror stories. I've been doing this long enough. I mean, I've had people, I just finished telling you, like, I had a guy quit. Like last month, there was a guy in our branch, one of our clients, like that literally like left their job and then went to go do something else without telling us.
So in the middle of trying to close his mortgage, he's already approved because you did all your due diligence.
Yeah.
And he had a job, and now he's like, I don't need this.
I've already, he got another job, and it wasn't that big of a deal. I had a client call me today about to switch jobs where they were going to be from employed to self-employed. So, yeah.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad she called me, you know. So in the end, what you want to do is you want to, any type of shift in employment during any type of financing process, make sure you call whoever it is that's doing your financing. Ask them about it first.
Really good advice.
Yeah. So like the first step really is just getting qualified. The second step is making sure that any changes in the process in your life that's financial, you notify them, you know. The third step of it is assets. So people with bank accounts, one of the biggest pitfalls is that you have to understand that there's laws that make us track everything, any deposits or withdrawals really over $500.
Right.
So if it's not like a direct deposit from your job or whatever, and you just deposited $10,000, we're going to want to know where it came from.
Yeah, I would think, right? Because who knows?
And the reason for it is because the real estate is a number one way of laundering money.
Oh.
Number one.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, it's just one of those things. And the federal government makes us do it. It's not just like Samir.
But that's part of your due diligence, because if now, I did not know it was number one way of laundering money.
Yeah.
But so now if somebody's like, I found $10,000, it's like, no,
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. So like cash deposits, stuff like that, they make us track it. Right. And it's the number one like source of a headache, especially for someone who does like a cash business.
Right.
So that just make sure if you're about to buy a house and you have any large deposits, just make sure you keep the proof of where it came from.
So that you don't have to play catch up or clean up in the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Because some people get money from their parents, and whenever it's just like a wire, it's easy to track because it's digital. But if it's like a check, just keep a copy of the canceled check. It's normally going
like
online.
a gift letter with
we give them gift letters to fill out and stuff like that. And those are three main things. The other things that we're running into really is in regards to like grants from the government.
Oh.
Yeah. We have a lot of resources because as a community lending rep for my branch, I tend to try and hook up people that qualify in certain areas. Now, South Florida, for the most part, they always run out of money because we're just more aggressive for applying. That's just the bottom line than like, I don't know, Osceola or something like that.
Right.
Right. So there, you can live in certain areas where it's called USDA, where you qualify for 100% financing. And you also live in certain areas for SHIP funds that are available.
Right.
I just closed one last 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
It was Spring Hill, Florida.
Oh, that's where my in-laws live. Hi,
See?
in-laws. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a first-time home buyer, you can go and get SHIP funds in that county. I think it's Hernando County.
Right.
Now the good news is, the director there, the manager of the funds there, gave me the website for all the other managers of the funds in all the other counties.
Right.
In Florida. So there are other areas you can qualify for. Like if you're in Georgia, like almost the whole state is like USDA, and then there's also funds and grants for that stuff too.
And so what I'm getting is the best thing to do, call Samir.
Yeah.
What's your phone number?
All right, my number is 904-444-8500.
904-444-8500.
I kept that number for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Right?
Yeah, I can remember it.
I can remember it just like this.
Yes. And if you think you can maybe get some grants and you're looking for a house, Samir will look into it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
He'll work with you.
Yeah, there's so many ways to skin the cat. Now just know that if you make above the median income for your area, you're not getting a grant.
Yeah, come on, people. Use your head. You're not getting a grant if you make
I got a request like you make $120,000 a year. You're not getting it.
You're not getting a free house. It's not happening. Save it for the people who need it.
Yeah, the grants are for people who need it.
Yes.
Let's make that clear. But my experience with all this, the process is to keep people informed and just try to make it as headacheless as possible.
Right. And if we talk about mortgages, we have to talk about 2008.
Absolutely.
And that really began this whole idea of the mortgage crisis. And you were on the front lines during that time. Give me some feedback. How was that in the mortgage industry? You were here in Florida.
Correct. Well, it was very frustrating. And actually, I left the mortgage industry for a few years after that because of it. Look, you have people that were trading bad debt, selling bad debt.
Underwater mortgages.
Yeah, underwater mortgages. But it wasn't just that. The credit default swaps and all this other crap that was happening on Wall Street and stuff like that. People are always talking about the negatively amortized loans. I used to work for Washington Mutual. I don't know if I can say this on air, but whatever. I used to work for Washington Mutual. All I did there was the 1% on like the negatively amortized loan.
Right.
When I left Washington Mutual, I didn't close one as a mortgage broker. Not one.
Right.
Right. So the big banks and everything, like they were kind of pushing this stuff to their clients. Like if someone walked in and I said anything other than the 1% mortgage, they would slap me and ask me for my manager. So they're like, get out of my way, peasant. So
no soup for you.
No, right? No soup for you. That was like the soup Nazi. You know what I mean? So it was like Seinfeld reference. I like it. Man, somebody's in pop culture. So, it was different. But it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. It was very frustrating. And those that came back afterwards reaped the rewards.
And I know that there was a lot of problems with auto signing for mortgages, that they just had somebody who just auto signed mortgages, and which put people in bad mortgages. So now, fast forward, we have the 2008 crisis with mortgages. Regulations come out of that.
Correct. Well, the regulations came out. Even the way down to the way loan officers are paid.
Oh, interesting.
Right. Licensing. Like, I remember, I think 7, 8, it was like 10 years ago, and I had to get relicensed because you have to go through the federal and then you can get the state.
Okay.
Now in Florida, you can go through the federal. I haven't taken a test in 10 years. So if I'm not mistaken, the last person you could go through the federal and take the federal test and it counts for the state. You just apply for the license. Right.
Because that was my next thing. I was going to say, it can't be like one day you just decide. Like, I can't one day be doing a digital business card and then go like, I think tomorrow I'm going to write mortgages.
Right.
Like,
that's not the case anymore.
It's very regulated.
It's very regulated. You have to renew the license every year. It's like a tax. Okay. It's highly the way we get paid. There's like maxes, all kinds of stuff. It's very standard. Excuse me. There's no more like charging you in the front and then charging you in the back like they used to do with the yield spread and give you a higher rate and make money on it. All that stuff is gone.
Because that's what put the crisis.
Well, it encouraged it. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And definitely, there was so much money in it. So it definitely encouraged it. But like those things are gone. Even down to like closing. just called a closing disclosure. If you cannot close until you give the borrower a closing disclosure that they sign, and even then they have 3 days, and then you can close on a purchase or any other transaction.
So 3 days to be
After
like,
you sign a closing disclosure,
I don't want to
and
do it
nothing
anymore.
better changed, because if something changed, you got to send them make them sign another one, and you got to wait 3 more days after that.
So you mean if something changes within their
give them a higher rate.
financial?
Like if you give them, if I give you a closing disclosure that says you have a rate of 3%, and then your rate is really 3.5%, I got to give you another closing disclosure.
And then 3 days start again? Has that happened to you?
No.
Oh, see? Yeah. Because you know what you're doing.
I keep my word.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be in business this long if I didn't. Right. So, and that's like all the bait and switch stuff and all that stuff. I would hope I could say that it's all gone, but it's not. People will always find loopholes to screw people.
That's 100%. It's human nature. It is what it is. And that's why, once again, if you're buying a house, call Samir.
Well, thank you.
Because you need to find someone who has been in the business for a long time, who has a reputation of being honest, true to his word. And like you said, you wouldn't be doing this for as long as you have if you weren't doing it the right way.
Right. And our team philosophy in the office is similar to that. I'm very fortunate to be on the staff that I'm on. Very, very fortunate. We work together very, very well. I think anybody that even visits our office can pick up the energy is very positive.
Well, I mean, you're very positive anyway, because I know when we talk, it's always very positive and fun, and we just
because we're both blessed.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, we're
when you
lucky.
realize
we love
your blessings,
what we do.
yeah, we love what we do, and we're able to do stuff like this, help people out. I had a young lady close, and it's a story I shared with you, where her family, didn't make much money or whatever, and she was like, okay, she didn't think it was possible, and I told her, I was like, listen, the money part doesn't matter. Let's just get this done. When you close, you're going to break that cycle. Your son's going to buy a house, or think about it, and then she sent me a Cheesecake Factory certificate because she said her son was like, I can't wait till I buy my house and it's going to look like this. And then her 22-year-old son called me about getting qualified for her house as well. That's the magic of what we do.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think people really think like this. It's not just, hey, somebody bought a house.
Yeah.
You're changing lives, being able to qualify people who never lived in their home that they own.
Ownership breaks cycles.
Right.
Right? Let's face it. Certain families rent. Everybody rents.
Right.
Just like when I asked that 22-year-old kid, what made you call? He's like, well, for the first time, everybody wasn't telling me that it's not possible. That's big.
It's huge.
Right. I mean, I used to live. I remember I used to live in the projects when I first came to this country. I know exactly what I was being told I could or could not do. My whole life, people have been telling me, no, I can't do whatever. I've always been too short, too slow. First I had a Haitian accent, then I had a Boston accent, and now people don't even know where my accent comes from. Right? I mean, it's all the same stuff, right? But if everybody's telling you no, it's not possible. I spoke to another young lady today. She was paying $1,400 a month in rent in Orlando, but
that could be a mortgage payment,
right?
Less even.
Her new house is $915.
Wow,
that changes her life.
Yeah, sure does.
That changes her life. That's including taxes, insurance, and everything. And then I remember when I first started talking to her, she's like, Samir, this is impossible. Samir, this is impossible. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to say her name. Well, I can say her first name, not her last name. Okay, so Nancy, I was like, Nancy, here's the deal. If you give me a chance, and it is possible, you'll do what I say. And she did.
Right.
Then we closed. And I think that's the real impact of what we do.
I agree. And just the idea that you can help someone be the first in their family to own a home when generations of their family were not able to own homes because they didn't seek the right professional advice. Now, and I love the story about the 22-year-old because now this will be a legacy.
Absolutely.
Just the shift, that tiny shift for that family changes everything.
Right. And coming from a Haitian family who emigrated here, right? I remember when my mom moved from the projects in Boston, right, to Pompano Beach, and we bought a house. I remember walking in and getting my own room. There was a backyard. That was a big deal to me. It was huge, right? And granted, that neighborhood wasn't much better than where I came from. Who cares? Right. To me, that was it was like the magic of it. And and the people that I talk to, the people that we deal with, and sometimes, and don't get me wrong, this isn't on every client or people are like that. You know, sometimes people are just routine. They've bought many houses,
Right.
a lot of houses before, and they're very well off. You know, I mean, we do $1 million loans, and people are like, okay, boom, 300
This
grand.
is my
and it
ninth house, so let's
like,
just get
let's
this,
just get
like-
this over
it's
with.
like,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
Sorry.
Right? You know, I bought my last one cash, but this one I think I'll get a $500,000 mortgage. You know, I hear that too. You know,
Right.
but I think that you know what we do in this industry, it impacts the fabric of the American dream.
It's 100%. Home ownership is the American
Right.
dream because now you're putting roots down.
Yes.
You're a community. You have pride in your home. And it kind of stops this from people going from apartment to apartment to apartment. And it really is, right. It's interwoven into the fabric of the American dream.
Right. And I think what happened in '08 kind of I think what happened in '08 with all those people losing their home, it kind of like played into the fear of loss of the American dream, you know? And I think since then, I think what's happened is because of all the real estate boom and stuff like that, I think we're starting to get it back, you know?
Yep.
You know, with jobs and stuff. And this is coming from someone who's had jobs, been ups and downs, and, you know, I own my own brokerage and didn't own my own. None of that stuff matters, right?
Right. But that's everyone's story, up and
Right.
down and up and down like that.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, some days I'm able to afford a hamburger, some days I'm able to afford a Happy Meal.
Yeah, I have.
Right?
Or a trip to New York.
Or a trip to New York.
That's
right. The American dream is the opportunity to do it. To me, so I take it very seriously. I love it. I love the opportunity to do it.
And because of your background,
I appreciate it more.
I agreed.
I was
Agreed.
naturalized, and I was almost crying.
I can imagine.
I was almost crying, Jen. I was in there. I could not believe some of the stuff I was hearing and the struggles of people to get citizenship. And this is after I was 32 years old when I got naturalized.
Oh, wow.
So I was already here for like what, 15, 17 years.
So, well, as always, my half hour goes incredibly fast. I think I'm going to do like a 6-hour show. That's that's just the way it's got to go.
Okay.
Samir, how can people get in touch with you?
Yes, ma'am. You can reach me at samir@ineedmorehouse.com. And also 904-444-8500, which is my cell phone. Just give me a shout.
Awesome. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me on Thursday evenings. I look forward to seeing you next week. Shout out to Samir. Thank you
for the
so much for
opportunity.
being
Thank
on
you
the
so
show.
much.
And contact him. Let's get you into a house.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much for spending this half hour with me and my guests at the Jenn G Show, sponsored by Mobipop. Looking forward to seeing you next week where we connect, communicate, and collaborate. Have a great evening.
The following message is sponsored